exception is raised, then it gives error. But what happens is execution is continued because there is no try catch. If catch block is there, then it go to the catch block. If catch block is not there, then execution is continued. Understood? Then what? Include the try catch. Include the try catch. Then catch block. Now, if exception is raised, then it goes to catch block. In the catch block, what what do you want to show to the user? I want to show error. Then, if you want to show error, raise error. But what is the message? If this is the error, I want to show account does not exist. If this is the error, I want to show insufficient balance. Just copy this message to one variable. Whatever the exception is raised, copy that message to one variable. Then next raise the error with the same message. I want to test it. Then if you want to test, first you have to create the tables. Shall I create? Okay, and then see. So let me create what is create table. What is the table? Accounts table. Then one field is account number, integer. One field is account type, varchar, varchar of one. One field is balance, money, execute. Table is what's that? Created. Next one. Insert one or two records into this table. Insert into accounts, values, account number 100, savings, balance is 10,000. 101, savings, balance is 20,000. Then execute this. Created. So table is created, two rows inserted into table. Create the transaction table. Create what's the table? What transactions? First one, transaction ID, integer. Transaction what type? Varchar, varchar of one character. Transaction date. What is important for bank? Date and time is important. Okay, na? Next one. What is the next? Transaction what? Amount. How much amount? Next one, account number. What is that account number? Integer. Okay. But in accounts table, account number is primary key. In transaction table, account number is foreign key. Let me create this table. So, okay, let me create this table then. So table is created. Now the two tables are what's that? Ready. But when you are inserting, you see that. See, transaction ID should be automatically generated. For generating, create one what? Sequence. Create sequence S10. Then what? Start with 1. Next. Increment by 1. Next. Max value, suppose 999. Create sequence S10. Start with 1. Increment by 1. Max value. Okay. Then max value 999. Let me create it. Now these three objects are ready. So okay na? So tables are ready plus what's it then. Okay, then you know how to create the tables. So I created the tables. Then create tables, accounts, account number, account type, next one, balance. So this is insert. Next, create table transactions. So okay na? Then now run this program. Execute this program. Okay, execute the program. Then now let me run this. Why this? Okay, sorry. Here, comma is missing up. Then, okay, okay. Then, next, let's execute this. One row affected. Now see the table. Sir, select star from what? Accounts table. Select star from transactions table. See the tables. Actually, we inserted 10,000. Here it is 9,000. One record is inserted into transactions table. Withdraw. Okay, then now. So type is withdraw. No? Then next. Plus. What is the balance now? At present, current balance is how much? 9,000. Is withdrawing. Account number is 999. Enter some account number 999. What is the count star value? Count star value. Account number is 999. Any record is there with account number 999? No. What is the count star value? 0. Condition true. When condition true, what happens? Exception is raised. Exception is raised. When exception is raised, immediately control go to the catch block. In the catch block, are you handling the error? Yes. And raising the same error. Okay. Next. Let's see. Account does not exist. But not errors are, you want to show the message, you can show the message. Depends. Next. Account number is 100. Balance is 10,000. Amount is 10,000. Is withdrawing 10,000. But what is the balance? 9,000. Account is there or not there? There. Condition false. Count is not 0. Count is 1. Next one. What is the balance? 9,000. What is the amount? 10,000. 10,000 greater than 9,000? Yes, condition true. Then what happens? Raise error. When exception is raised, then go to catch block. Then print the message. Error is raised. Then you see that. Insufficient balance. Sir, okay, na? Then that's it. Okay. Then. So this is how to raise our own exceptions. Okay. Then. This is about error handling. You learn two. What are the two? You need two. What are the two? How to handle exceptions raised by SQL server. How to raise your own exceptions. That's okay. Then. So what the next topic is? Name TSQL blocks. Name TSQL blocks. One is what's it? Stored procedures. Next one, functions. Next one, triggers. Procedures, functions, and triggers. Then, but in this, the first two are called subprograms. The first two. What is that is? Stored procedures and what functions are called subprograms. Okay, then the first two are called subprograms. Okay, then see, like, but trigger is a named TSQL block, but it is not a subprogram. Okay, na? All the three are named blocks, but trigger is not a subprogram. Up to now, the programs we have written, what are these programs are called? What are these programs are called? Anonymous programs without name. Now, what we are going to see? We are going to see programs with name. Okay, then. So, what are the advantages? What are the advantages? Hmm? What are the advantages of subprograms? Huh? So, one is modular programming. One is what? Modular programming. Okay, what is modular programming means? Dividing a big program into small modules. Dividing a big program into small modules. In C Sharp, a big program is divided into small modules called methods. You write the code in method. Okay, now? So different operations are there. You create different methods. For every operation, create separate method. Whenever you want, call that method. Addition, one method, subtraction, multiplication, division, different methods. Whenever you want addition, call the addition method. Like that. So what is that is dividing the big program into small modules. That is called modular programming. Because it is a big program, managing is difficult, coding is difficult, debugging is difficult. If it is a small programs, then coding is easy. Debugging is also easy. So what is this modular programming is like dividing dividing a what big program into small modules is called modular programming. So dividing a big program into small modules is called modular programming. In TSQL, then in TSQL, in TSQL, a big program, okay, in TSQL, with the help of procedures and functions, a big program can be divided into small modules. A big TSQL program can be divided into small modules. So this is modular programming. Next. Next. What the next one is? Reusability. These programs can be reused. You create the program. Okay, now then. Can you call this program? Reusing means calling the program from another program. That is called reusing. Okay, then you create a method for addition. Whenever you want to add two numbers, you don't need to write the code. Already method is there, call the method. Similarly, here also what? Can you reuse this program? No. Why? To reuse, to call this program from another program, what is required? Name is required. But this is not created with name. So you cannot call it. But these programs are created with name. So you can reuse. Then reusability. How? These programs are what? Created with what's the name? Okay, now projects and functions are created with what's the name? So then next we can create these programs wherever we want. We can call this program and we can reuse. We can call these programs from. We can call these programs from what's it? Another program. Okay, then. So created with name and we can call these programs from another program. Next one. They're called from, invoked from front end. These programs are called from what's it? Front end application. Procedures and functions called from front end, like C Sharp, Java, Python, like this. Understood? Procedures and functions can be called from front end applications. Okay, then. So suppose here, then for example, you see this. This is what this is database. And this database is managed by SQL server. So SQL server is managing the database. Okay. So this is the database. This database is managed by SQL server. Then there are different applications connected to database. You take banking applications. Okay, now all these applications are connected to what's that database. Example, then what? This is ATM. ATM is banking application, net banking, mobile application. All these banking applications are connected to database. In all these applications, what I want is I want to implement one transaction, money transfer. From all these application, I want to provide a service to the customer, money transfer service. You have to write the code here. You have to write the code here. You have to write the code here. In all these applications, you have to repeat the code. And instead of repeating the code in all these applications, then what we can do, create a stored procedure. Create a stored procedure for money transfer. When you create a stored procedure, where it is stored? Database. It is stored in database. Up to now, the programs you have written, all these programs are stored in database. These programs are stored in database. No, they are not stored in database. You written program, you executed the program. That's all. You see that this program, you executed the program. Is it stored in database? No. Understood or not? This program is not stored in what's it? Database. You just only executed the program. Okay, then. But these programs are stored in what? Database. When program is stored in database, what is the advantage? We can reuse. We can reuse. Plus, we can call it from applications. Yes or no? Something is stored in database means it is available to the applications connected to the database. All these applications connected to the database. So we can call this from these applications. Okay, na? Then suppose you can call this from, this can be called from ATM. This can be called from net banking. This can be called from what's a mobile application. This program can be called from all applications connected to database. C# can access the data in SQL server. C# program can access the data in SQL server. Yes, because where the data stored? Data stored in database. Like that. So something stored in database means available to the application, whether it is a program or it is a data. Okay, now then. So now see, because what's it? Because these programs are stored in what? Database. These programs means what are these? These programs means what? Procedures and functions are stored in database. So what is the advantage? So applications what? Which are connected to database can call these programs. Okay, na? Then next. And improves what's the performance. Procedures improves performance. How? How procedures improves performance? Yes. Write once, execute many times. Sir, here you write this program, then click the execute button. What happens? Tell me. You write the program, execute this. What happens? Program is compiled, executed. Again click this. Again compile, executed. Again compile. Every time program is compiled and executed. Compilation is repeated or not? Yes. So this degrade the performance. Sir, every time compilation is required. Sir, here one execution to another execution, code remains same. Yes, only input value changes. Yes or no? The code remains same. Only the input value changes from one execution to another execution. So no need to compile every time. Okay, na? Just one time it's enough. But normal PLS, normal programs every time compile and executed. But procedures are what? One time compilation. So that is why improves performance. And so procedures, what's it? Procedures and functions improves performance because what's it? One time compilation. Okay, that is when we create a procedure. When we create a procedure, program is what? Compiled and stored in what? Database. When we create a procedure, program is compiled and stored in database. And whenever we call procedure, only what? Execution is repeated, but not compilation. So this improves what? Performance. That's that. Understood that. Next, that's so these are what? Modular programming. Okay, na? How? What is modular programming means? Dividing a big program into small. How it is possible? By using procedures and functions. Reusable, because these programs are created with name. Wherever you want, you can call it. Invoked from front end, because they are stored in database. They can be called from front end application. Improves performance because one time compilation. That's so for any task is there. Okay, then you create procedure, you don't create procedure. So how you decide whether it is one time task? No need to go for procedure. Repetitive task, better to go for procedure. One time action, then procedure is not required. Repetitive action, procedure is required. But real time, one time actions are repetitive. All are repetitive. Money transfer, this is money withdraw, then one time are repetitive. Better write this code in procedure. Money transfer, money deposit, okay, balance inquiry, maximum all this what? Repetitive actions, not one time action. So better to create procedures. Okay, then so no, that's these are the what's the benefits. That first we'll start with what? Stored procedures. Then so what is this is? A procedure is a what? A procedure is a named TSQL block. A procedure is a named TSQL block that accepts some input, comma, performs some action on, database, and may or may not return say value. Is a named TSQL block that accepts some input, performs some action on database, and may or may not return say value. That's all. This is the definition of procedure. But it takes some input, performs some action. Okay, then so suppose that, for example, this is the procedure. This is the what's the database. Then, sir, not database. This is procedure. This is the procedure. This is the table. Let's say EMP table. Okay, table. Then, where is the table? Database. Where is the procedure? Database. Procedure is also there in database. And procedure will receive what's that? Procedure receives what? Input. Procedure receives what's that? Input. Procedure accepts some input. Receive this input, performs some action on what's that? Database. perform some action on database, and may or may not return say value. Receive the input, perform some action, may or may not return say value. Okay, then. So it is input. What is this is? Some action. Action like what? IUD. Insert, update, delete. And may or may not return say value. Return. But where it receive the input? Where it receive the input? Front end. Maximum front end. Projects are mainly created for this front end purpose. See, this type of code, one second, this type of code, difficult in writing in C sharp. Writing this code in C sharp is what? Difficult. Because here, how many queries you have to execute? This is one. One, checking the account exists or not. Next one, balance. Next one, update. Next one, insert. How many commands object you have to create? With one command object, you execute one query. How many command objects you have to create? Multiple. Difficult or not? Yes or no? Then what you can do? Write this program in TSQL. Call it from C sharp. That is the best approach. That is why stored procedures are widely used in what's that? Applications, real-time application, real-time projects. So the right code in database, call this code from C sharp. Okay, now that. So what is this is? This is what's the front-end application. Either what? C sharp.net or ASP.NET application. That's it. Okay, then. Next. Procedures are created. Procedures are created to perform what? One or more actions on what's it? One or more actions like what? Insert, update, delete on what's it? Tables. To perform one or more actions like insert, update, delete on tables. Mainly you create for inserting, updating, deleting. Okay, na? Then, sir, why we create procedure for inserting, updating, deleting? Directly we can insert, directly we can update, directly we can delete. Why you create procedure? Then, advantages. Understood? Then, next, how to create? What the syntax is? Create or alter procedure, procedure name. Next, what? Parameters, if any. Next one, as what? Huh? Statements. As what? Statements. Create or alter procedure, procedure name, parameters, if any, as statements. So this is the syntax. Syntax for what? Procedures. Okay, now example. But here, then, in procedure, this is procedure name. These programs are created with what's that? Name. Procedure name. And it is starting with create. Something starting with create means stored in database. If anything starts with create command, stored in database. Create table, create view, create sequence, create index, create synonym. So if something starts with create command, stored in database. In procedures, what is important is parameters are important. What is important? Parameters. Then what are parameters? In projects, what is important is parameters. What are parameters? Huh? Parameters are what? Arguments. Okay, but what? Why we use? We can declare the parameters. We can pass the values to the parameters. We can declare what? Parameters. And we can pass values to parameters. We can declare the parameters, we can pass values to the parameters. Okay, then understood. Then so like parameters are what? Parameters are two types. What are the two types? One is input, another one output. So parameters are two types, input and output. Then first, what's the default is input. That means if you don't mention any parameter, if you don't mention parameter type, by default the parameter is input. Uh, Input what? Input always receives value. Input always receives value. Output always sends value. Huh? Input always receive the value. Receive the value from where? Printed. Output always sends value. Sends value to where? Printed. Okay. Then. So input always receive the value. Output always send the value. If you don't mention, by default it is input. Like 1 second. This is what's the application. Either what? C sharp. Otherwise what's that? ASP application. What is this is? This is what? Procedure. I created procedure with two parameters, X and Y. I created procedure with two parameters, X and Y. X is what? Input. X is input. Y is what's that? Output. Assume X is input parameter. Y is output parameter. I'm calling the procedure from C sharp. When you call this procedure from C sharp, it should be called with two parameters. It should be called with two parameters. Procedure is created with two parameters, boss. When you call this procedure from C sharp, it should be called with two parameters. A, B, suppose. Okay, na? Then. What is X is input. If it is input means it always what's that? Receive the value. Input always receive the value. X receive the value from A. Next one. Y is what? Output. If it is output, then always what's that? Sends value. Then Y always send the value to B. X receive the value from A, Y sends value to B. That's all. So okay na? That. So next. Let's take example. First example. First we'll create procedure without parameters. Procedure what? Without parameters. Then. So create or alter procedure name. Create alter procedure name. So let's say rise salary. See, what is my requirement is create a procedure to increment all employee salaries by 1,000. Suppose create a project to increment all employee salaries. So create or alter procedure name. What is the procedure name? Raise salary. Raise means increase. Increase the salary as, but I'm not taking any parameters. Parameters are compulsory or optional. That's why I said if any. Means optional. Okay, na? Then next as what? As update. Update EMP set salary equal to salary plus 1,000. But you want to increment all employees or specific employee? All employees. So where condition is required or not required? Not required. Whatever the code you write it here, that is code is saved with this name. But here only one command. But suppose this code, like the code is saved with this name. Then let's see. So let me create the procedure. Let me create what's it? Procedure. Then create the procedure. Okay, na? Let me create the procedure. Then commands completed what? Successfully. Procedure is what, sir? Created. You go to this one, DB6PM, DB6PM. In DB6PM, there is a what? Programmability, stored procedures, DB4S. So program is stored in database. But up to now, whatever the programs we have written, those programs are not stored in database. But this program is stored in database. Then, okay. Then understood. Then next. So after storing this program in database, then next whenever you want, you can execute. So procedure is what, sir? Created. Procedure created. After executing this, procedure is created. Means this code is what? Compiled plus stored in database. This code, only this line. This line is compiled and stored in database. Next one, execution. Execute the procedure. Then how to execute the procedure? Execute procedure name. Execute procedure name. What is the procedure name? Rise salary. That's it. Executing the procedure means this update command is executed. Now salary is incremented. When you create the procedure, salary is not incremented. When you create the procedure, salary is not incremented. Update command is not executed. Only program is compiled and stored in database. Now execute the procedure. How to execute the procedure? Execute. Execute the procedure. Execute what's that? Rise salary. But before executing the procedure, what is the salaries? Select star from EMP. You see this? So salaries. These are the salaries. These are the salaries. Next. Execute. What in rows affected? Now see the table. Then each and every employee salary incremented by 1,000 or not? Yes. Okay. Then that's all. So this is procedure. What's that? Without parameters. Then. But let's see. Suppose then procedure with what? With parameters. Procedure with input parameters. Okay. Then what I want to do is then create a procedure to increment what? What's that? Specific employee salary by specific amount. So previous one you're incrementing what? All. But I don't want to increment all. I want to increment specific employee salary by specific amount. Then what you do? Create same program, but what? Then you write what's it? Where condition. What is the where condition? Where what? Employee number equal to, let's say 7369. I'm giving 7369. 7369. Then what happens if you write like this? Is it useful? Is it useful? No. Because what happens is always what? 7369 salary is increment. Do you increment always 7369? No. See, who create this procedure? Developer. Developer don't know what is the employee number. Developer don't know amount. Sorry, ATM. You take ATM. ATM application is developed by Infosys developer. Is Infosys developer knows who is going to withdraw, who is going to deposit? No. What he has done? A developed application like that, customer has to input the account number, customer has to input the amount. Inside the card, enter the amount. Yes or no? Similarly, here also, so then we don't know this employee number at the time of creating. We know this employee number at the time of executing. Then how to pass the values at the time of execution? Parameters. Take what? Parameters. Then. So parameters also prefixed with at the rate. at the rate envo, parameter for employee number, int, parameter name, parameter data type, parameter type. Parameter type is input. Input is default, no need to mention. Then what is this parameter? This parameter receive the value. Okay, na? What it receives? Employee number. Whatever the employee number it receives, then write that here. Envo. So if this parameter receives 7369, 7369 salary is incremented. If this parameter receives 7844, 7844 salary is incremented. But always it increments by how much? 1000. Even developer don't know amount also. That amount also one runtime. Then take one more parameter. What is that is? At the rate amount. At the rate amount, then money. Then what's that? Not 1000. Then at the rate amount. So using this procedure, we can increment specific employee's salary by specific amount. We can increment specific employee's salary by specific amount. Which employee, which amount, how much amount? That is passed at runtime, at the time of execution, not at the time of creation. Okay, then now create this procedure. Create the procedure. I'm creating the procedure. Okay, then you see. But at the time of creating the procedure, I'm saying create procedure. Create procedure. Then what it says, this is already an object named raise salary in the database. That means raise salary is already there. We created this one. Okay, you are giving the same name. That's why it is giving error. Then you want to create another procedure or you want to modify the previous procedure. Previous procedure. Because previous procedure is not having parameters. I want to create procedure with parameters. If you want to modify the previous, then you have to say create or alter. You want to create a new one, then say raise salary to. Understood? Sir, you want to modify the previous procedure, then create with same name. Then what happens? What is the meaning? Create or alter means procedure is not there. It is created. Procedure is already there. Altered. That means previous procedure is replaced with new one. But you want to create a new procedure, then give some different name. Raise salary to. One more procedure is created with name raise salary to. Raise salary without parameters. Raise salary to is with parameters. If you want, like otherwise, replace it. Understood? Yeah. Now I'm creating. So one more procedure is created. Okay, na? Then next. So then let's say raise salary to. Next. What is the next one? Execution. Execute this project. I'm executing the project like this. Execute project name. What is the project name? Raise salary to. Raise salary to. But execute error. Why? It's created with parameters, but you are not passing the values. It is expecting two values, but you are not passing the two values. That's why it is giving error. Then what I'm doing, passing 7369,000. What happens? What happens? So 7369 is that. So this is the procedure you created. This is the procedure you created. You are executing the procedure like this. You are executing the procedure like this. Okay, now you are executing the procedure like this. Okay, then what happens is, sir, here then 7369 is passed to 7369 is passed to at the rate envo. 1000 is passed to at the rate amount. First step. First, these values are passed to these parameters. Procedure code is executed. This is second step. First, values are passed to these parameters. Execute this procedure. Update command is executed. Now let's see. Then one row affected. See the table. See the table. Select star from what's it? EMP. See the table. 7369 salary is incremented by 2800. Earlier 1800 na plus 1000. Incremented by 2800. Okay. Then how to execute? Same thing. What? Execute raise salary. Then 7369. Then 1000. Sir, okay na? No. Suppose, assume this procedure is called from front end. This procedure is called from what's it? Shisha. Okay. Then, so this is the front end application. In front end application, they input what's it? Two values. One is employee number. Okay. Then leave it. Then. So input what's it? Employee number. Okay. Then input employee number. Suppose 20. Like employee number. Next one. What's it? Amount. So input the number here, input the amount here. This is the button, submit button, update button like this. This is update button. Okay, next. And what is this is procedure. This is procedure. This is what's the table, EMP table. Okay, this is the procedure. This is the EMP table. So front end, they're calling this, okay na? Then what they're doing is they're calling this procedure. They input the employee number. They input the employee number 7369. Input what's the amount 1000. Click the button. Input the amount 1000. Click the button. When this button is clicked, then what happens? So the values are passed to procedure. Procedure go to EMP table. Then what it is doing? Updating. So it is updating the salary. Yes. Okay, now then that is what we have done. So going to the procedure table, updating the salary. But after updating, the front end is expecting updated salary. Front end application is expecting updated salary. After doing the money withdrawal from ATM, check balance. Otherwise, it will give the slip. On that slip, it will print available balance. Yes. So front end is expecting updated balance. Where is the updated balance? Table. Now get the balance from table. Get the balance from table. How to get the balance from table? How to get the balance from table? Select. Select query. To get the value from table, select query. After getting the balance from table, send the balance to front end. Send the balance to the front end. How to send the balance to the front end? Using what? Output parameter. How procedure receives the values coming from front end? By using input. By using input. How procedure send the values? By using output. That's all. Okay. Then procedure receive the values by using input. Procedure send the values by using outputs. Okay. Then now. So what is this is example 3. Then procedure with what? With output parameter. Then what is create a procedure to increment what? to increment specific employee's salary by specific amount. After increment, send the updated salary to calling program. Send the updated salary to calling program. Okay, now same thing. What I'm doing, raise salary 3 now. We'll keep all the 3. Raise salary 3. Then what's it? Next, taking one more. What that is? New salary. What is the type? Money. This is output. If it is output, compulsory you have to mention. Input, no need to mention because default is inputs. Then next, updated. Salary is what's it? Updated. Then after updating, next one. Send the updated salary to calling program. Front end. If you want to send the value to the front end, take output parameter, assign the value to output parameter. Whatever is assigned to output parameter, that is sent to the calling program. Then what? Not set. Where is the updated salary? Table. Then select at the rate new salary equals to salary. Select new salary equal to salary from EMP, where employee number at the rate EN. What we are doing, getting the salary after update. That means this query will select new salary now, old salary now. New salary, updated salary. Updated salary is assigned to at the rate new salary. What is at the rate new salary? Output parameter. Whatever is assigned to output parameter, that is sent to the calling program. Then what? Let's see. Now create. So first what's that? Create. Create the procedure. Procedure is create. Total how many are there? 3. Raise salary 2, raise salary 3. Now execute this project. Then tell me how. Execute this project. Execute. Execute what? Raise salary 7369,000. That's all. Raise salary 3 now. Raise salary 3. Then execute. Error. There is a third parameter. Then, but third parameter, for third parameter, we have to send the value now. No. Sir, we send value to only input. For output, we don't send. Output send the value. Here you have to receive the value. Procedure is sending bus. You have to receive the value. To receive the value, what we need? We need a variable. So declare the variable. At the rate what, sir? S. Sal. S. What is the type? Money. Use that variable here. At the rate yes. But you have to mention this is output. Now, 1 second. Sir, here, let's take this one. 1 second. See, here what? Then, so this is the procedure. This is the procedure. Next one. Then, so this is the execution. You are executing the procedure. Now, here you see that you are executing the procedure. Sir, okay. Then you are executing the procedure. Understood? Then what happens is when you execute the procedure, then see 7369 is passed to 1000 is passed to at the rate amount. This is the first step. First values are passed to input. Second one, procedure code is executed. Whatever the code you have written, this code is executed. Okay, na? Then next, the updated salary is assigned to at the rate new sal. What is at the rate new sal? Output parameter. Whatever is assigned to output parameter, that is sent to S. This is third step. That's it. First, the values are passed to input parameters. Procedure code is executed. The value assigned to output parameter is sent to the calling program. In calling program, this will receive the value. Print s. Print s at the rate s. Let's see. Then 3,800. Earlier 2,800. Now it is 3,800. That's this is how to execute. Okay, na? Execution. That's so first one without parameter. Second one with input. Next one with output parameter. Okay. Then we'll see some more examples. Okay, na? Another some examples on projects. Next we go to the functions. Okay. Huh? We'll do that in the next. Online students. Any doubts? Online students. Uh-huh. Okay, okay. నాకు లైక్ బిగినింగ్ గుడ్ చేయండి ఓకేనా జస్ట్ 1 minute అంతే అంతే ఓకే